my daughter excluded me from her graduation for not selling my grandmother's necklace. But when she threatened her stepmother's baby, her father disowned her, and now she's begging for my forgiveness. I'm 45 years old. I'm a graphic designer, and honestly, I need to get this off my chest because what happened with my daughter in the last few months basically destroyed what was left of our family. And when I say destroyed, I'm not exaggerating one bit. I guess I should start from the beginning. Or I mean, not from the very beginning, but from when things really started to go to hell. My marriage to David, Sophia's father, was never perfect. You know, we had our problems like everyone else, but I thought we were okay, that we were a functional family and all that. Turns out I was completely wrong. Like 2 years ago, when Sophia was 17, I discovered that David had been having an affair with his secretary for 5 years. 5 years. 5 years of lying. 5 years of living a double life while I was there like an idiot thinking everything was fine. I'm not going to go into all the details of the divorce because it was basically hell, but the important thing is that by the time Sophia turned 19 and was about to graduate high school, we were officially divorced and David was living with his girlfriend, the ex-secretary, who, by the way, was already pregnant at that point. What I never imagined, and this is what really broke my heart, is that Sophia ended up developing a super close relationship with her father's girlfriend. Like, I understand that sometimes these things happen and that kids can get along with their parents' new partners, but this was different. You know what I mean? It was like Sophia had decided that this woman, the same one who destroyed our marriage, was her new best friend or something. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself a bit. Let me go back to when everything really started to explode. One day, I think it was like March or April last year, Sophia was going through stuff in the attic of my house looking for I don't know what for a school project. And there she found a box with some old jewelry that had belonged to my grandmother, and among those things was a blue sapphire necklace that had been passed down through generations in my family. It's a beautiful piece, honestly, and it has a lot of sentimental value to me because it was my grandmother's, who basically raised me when my mom couldn't. Sophia came down from the attic with the necklace in her hand and her eyes shining in a way that made me nervous immediately. She told me, "Mom, this necklace must be worth a fortune. You should sell it to pay for my college." Just like that. No warning. Like it was the most logical thing in the world. I explained to her that the necklace was a family heirloom, that it had enormous sentimental value to me, and that I wasn't willing to sell it. I told her that her father and I had already talked about college, that between the two of us, we were going to help her with tuition and that she could take out student loans or look for scholarships for the rest. I thought that would be the end of the conversation. But oh no. I had no idea what was coming. Sophia got furious, like really angry, and started yelling that I was selfish, that the necklace was just an old, meaningless thing, and that if I really loved her, I wouldn't hesitate to sell it to secure her future. What hurt me most was when she said, "Dad is right. You always only think about yourself." That broke something inside me, honestly. I tried to stay calm and explain to her again that I wasn't going to sell the necklace, that it was the only thing I had left from my grandmother, and that it represented much more than money to me. But Sophia didn't want to hear anything. She went to her room, slamming the door, and the next day, without telling me anything, she packed her things and moved to David's house. Just like that. Like nothing. She sent me a message that said something like, "Since you don't care about my education, I'm going to live with Dad and someone who actually supports me." I sat there in the living room looking at that message like 1,000 times, wondering how we had gotten to this point. The following weeks were horrible. Sophia barely talked to me, and when she did, it was only to ask me for things, or to remind me what a bad mother I was for not selling the necklace. Her high school graduation was approaching, and I assumed, obviously, that I was going to be invited to the ceremony because, I don't know, I'm her mother. But like 3 weeks before graduation, I found out from her paternal grandmother, Robert, David's dad, that Sophia had only given out 2 tickets for the ceremony, one for David and one for his girlfriend. When Robert told me, I thought he was joking, but no, he was completely serious. My own daughter had deliberately excluded me from her graduation. I called Sophia crying, asked her why she was doing this to me, and she just said there was limited space and she had decided to invite the people who really supported her. Her exact words were, "Dad and his girlfriend are paying for things for my future. You just cling to an old necklace." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there with the phone in my hand thinking, is this really happening? Is my daughter really punishing me like this for not selling a family heirloom? Graduation day was one of the worst days of my life. I stayed home looking at old pictures of Sophia when she was little, when she still saw me as her hero and not as an obstacle in her path to money. Robert called me after the ceremony, and I could hear in his voice that he was also upset about what was happening. He told me that everything had been very weird, that Sophia seemed super happy with David and the girlfriend, but that there was something forced about it all. But the worst, came later at the graduation party they organized at David's house. Robert sent me a video that someone had recorded, and in that video was Sophia giving a speech in front of all the guests. She talked for like 10 minutes about how grateful she was to her father and his girlfriend, whom she called her lucky charm or something like that. She said that thanks to her, she had learned what unconditional love and real support was. She didn't mention me once. Not once. It was like I didn't exist. Like the 19 years I spent raising her, taking care of her when she was sick, taking her to all her activities, helping her with her homework. All of that just didn't matter because I didn't sell a necklace to give her more money. I watched that video like 5 times in a row crying until no more tears would come out. And just when I thought it couldn't hurt more, Robert called me. He was furious, angrier than I had ever heard him. He told me that after Sophia's speech, he had taken her aside and asked her directly why she had excluded her mother from graduation and why she never mentioned her in her speech. Sophia apparently got defensive and told him that I had chosen a necklace over her, that I was the one who had decided not to support her. Robert told her that was stupid, that a mother didn't have to sell family heirlooms to prove love, and that she was being a spoiled brat and ungrateful. Then, and Robert told me this later, he took out some papers he had in his briefcase. They were documents from one of his companies, basically shares he planned to transfer to Sophia as a graduation gift. The plan was to give her something that would generate passive income while she studied, something super generous on his part. But Robert, in front of everyone at that party, tore those papers to pieces while telling Sophia she didn't deserve anything until she learned to value the people who really cared about her. You can imagine the drama that ensued. David started yelling at Robert that he had no right to interfere. Sophia started crying, and the party basically ended there. Robert called me that same night and told me, "Don't give her a penny for college. She's completely spoiled and needs to learn that actions have consequences." I don't know if I did the right thing, but I listened to him. I sent Sophia a message saying that after what had happened, I had decided not to contribute to her tuition, but that the doors of my house were still open if she wanted to talk. She never responded. Instead, David called me screaming that I was a horrible mother, that I was using money as a weapon, and that he would make sure everyone knew what kind of person I was. I hung up on him in the middle of his tantrum. I thought things couldn't get worse, but turns out they could. Like 2 weeks after all the graduation drama, Robert called me super confused. He told me that Sophia had gone to his house to visit him and had told him a completely different story from what had happened. According to Sophia, I had told her not to invite me to her graduation because I was busy with work, and that I had verbally abused her when she asked me for the necklace, yelling horrible things at her and making her feel guilty for just asking for help with her education. It was all a lie. Every word. Robert told me that at first he believed her because, I don't know. You don't expect your granddaughter to lie to your face like that. But Robert isn't stupid. He asked Sophia to show him the text messages where I supposedly told her not to invite me to graduation. Sophia got nervous and said she had deleted them. So Robert asked for my number, even though he already had it, and called me in front of her. He asked me directly if I had told Sophia not to invite me to her graduation. Obviously, I told him no, that I didn't even know there was a graduation until I found out I was excluded. Robert asked me to send him screenshots of all our conversations about graduation, and I did. When he saw that Sophia had blatantly lied, he told her he didn't want to see or talk to her until she stopped being a manipulative liar. Sophia ran out of his house crying. At that moment, I thought that maybe, just maybe, things would start to calm down. But no, because Sophia decided that the best way to deal with everything was to play the victim on social media. She started uploading TikTok videos telling her version of the story, where she basically painted me as an abusive mother who preferred an old necklace over her daughter's future, and that her father's family was toxic and had rejected her for defending her poor abused mother. The videos went viral in our community. People who knew us started sharing them and commenting. I received messages from people I didn't even know well calling me a bad mother, selfish, and worse things. I couldn't believe what was happening. My daughter, whom I had basically raised alone during her father's affair years, was now publicly defaming me on the internet. I tried to call her like 1,000 times, but she never answered. I sent her messages begging her to talk, to work things out, but nothing. Then Robert convinced me to do my own version of the story. He helped me gather all the evidence, screenshots of conversations, the video of the graduation speech, messages where Sophia insulted me for not selling the necklace, everything. I uploaded my own series of videos showing the evidence and explaining what had really happened. The reaction was immediate. The people who had previously criticized me started supporting me and questioning Sophia. Some even went to her videos and called her a liar in the comments. The narrative changed completely. Robert also helped me by contacting a lawyer because technically what Sophia had done was defamation, and we had grounds to sue her. We sent her a formal letter threatening to proceed legally if she didn't take down the videos and apologize publicly. She deleted the videos but didn't apologize. And then something happened that no one expected. Apparently, all the stress and drama caused a fight between Sophia and David's girlfriend. I don't know exactly what happened. Robert told me later that he heard from David. But basically, Sophia and the girlfriend were arguing about something. Probably about me because everything always came back to that. And things got physical. Sophia pushed the girlfriend, who remember was pregnant, and the woman almost fell down the stairs. Luckily, nothing serious happened, but David completely lost it. David, who for months had been defending Sophia and blaming me for everything, suddenly told his daughter to get out of his house immediately. He disowned her, literally told her she wasn't his daughter as long as she was threatening her and the baby that was on the way. He yelled at her that she was completely out of control and needed to leave before he called the police. Sophia tried to explain herself, to say it wasn't her intention, that she was just frustrated, but David didn't want to hear anything. He kicked her out of the house that same night with only what she had in her backpack. Sophia called Robert crying, begging him to let her stay with him. Robert told her she could stay, on the condition that she go to therapy and stop all the social media drama. She agreed because she basically had no other choice. It was there, living with Robert and without David or his girlfriend there to feed her narrative, that Sophia apparently started to realize things. Robert told me she was crying all the time, that she apologized to him constantly, and that she kept telling him that now she understood that her mom, meaning me, had been the only person who really cared about her all this time. I'm not going to lie. When Robert told me that, I felt a mixture of relief and bitterness. Part of me was happy that she finally realized, but another part was still angry about everything I had to go through. The public humiliation, missing her graduation, all the hate messages I received. The lawyer Robert had hired was still pushing the defamation case, and eventually we reached an agreement. Sophia would take down all the videos, which she had already done, post a public apology, admitting she had lied and misrepresented things, and we would drop the lawsuit. She accepted. The public apology she posted was something. You could see she was embarrassed and regretful, but also that it was really hard for her to do it. She basically admitted that she had distorted the truth because she was angry and hurt, that her mother was never abusive and that she had made bad decisions by excluding her from her graduation. She didn't mention the necklace directly. I guess that still hurt, but it was enough. The comments were a mix of people supporting her for acknowledging her mistake and others calling her manipulative and dramatic. After that, she deleted all her social media. Sophia basically cut off contact with David completely. She doesn't talk to him, doesn't go to his house, nothing. He apparently has tried to communicate with her several times, but she ignores him. As for college, she ended up taking out student loans on her own and also got a part-time job near campus. Robert helps her occasionally with some things, but makes it very clear that she has to learn to be responsible for her decisions. And yes, she's going to therapy, which honestly I think is the best thing she could have done. As for our relationship, Sophia and I, it's complicated. She's tried to talk to me several times. She sent me long messages apologizing, telling me she understands she acted horribly and wants to fix things. I've forgiven her, I guess, because at the end of the day, she's still my daughter, and I know she's young and made mistakes, but forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or going back to how it was before. I'm still hurt. I still remember every hate message I received because of her. I still think about her graduation and want to cry. I've told her I need time and space to heal before we can have a normal relationship again. We've seen each other a couple of times for coffee and to talk. There are awkward conversations where she cries a lot and I try to keep my composure. She tells me about her therapy, about how she's learning to manage her emotions and not let anger control her. She tells me she finally understands why I didn't sell the necklace, that now she knows money isn't the most important thing. Honestly, I don't know if she really understands it or if she's just saying what she thinks I want to hear, but I appreciate the effort, I guess. The other day, she asked me if we could start seeing each other more often, maybe once a week or something. I told her I would think about it. I don't want to be cruel to her, but I also don't want her to think everything is okay when it's not. I'm trying to find a balance between being her mother and protecting my own peace of mind. It's difficult, honestly, because every time I see her, I think about everything that happened and I get a knot in my chest. Robert tells me I'm doing the right thing by taking my time, that Sophia needs to understand that rebuilding trust takes time and effort. I've been an incredible support through all of this. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done without him. He tells me he's proud of how I handled the situation, that I maintained my dignity even when things got ugly. That means a lot coming from him. As for the sapphire necklace, it's still in my safety deposit box where it always was. Sometimes I take it out and look at it, thinking about my grandmother and how she would have handled this whole situation. I think she would have been proud that I didn't sell it, that I stood firm on what was important to me. It's funny how something so small can cause so much chaos, but at the same time, reveal so much about people and their priorities. I don't know how all of this will end. Part of me wants to believe that Sophia and I will eventually have a close relationship again, but another part is too tired and hurt to hope too much. What I do know is that I'll never forget this lesson about the real value of things, about how money and material, possessions can bring out the worst in people, even those you love. And I know that no matter what happens with Sophia, I did the right thing by staying true to what I value and the memory of the people who mattered to me. For now, I live my life day by day, work on my design projects, spend time with the few people I trust, and try to heal from all this family trauma. Sophia is building her life too, learning from her mistakes, growing. Maybe someday, when we've both healed enough, we can have the mother-daughter relationship we once had. Or maybe not. Life is unpredictable like that. I guess. All I can do is keep moving forward and hope that time heals the wounds this past year left on both of us.